Hi guys, I'm Jenny and this is the Big Sew Along. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving or a great week if you weren't celebrating Thanksgiving. I had a wonderful time. I ate too much as usual. I did not get everything done that I thought I was going to get done, but that's okay. I have a lot to talk about today, so let's get on with it. We're going to talk about pants today. I have recently had a couple of requests for a sew through from beginning to end on a couple of different pants. So I've decided to do that with a couple of exceptions. First, we're going to talk about the different types of pants that we have in Sewtinagivens patterns. I have broken them into 4 categories. Those categories are no side seam pants. Those are pants that are cut front and back in one piece, and they only have a seam on the inside of the leg and then around the crotch. Side panel pants, which are a front, a back, and one panel that runs down the side, and then a seam down the inside of the leg and the crotch. Regular side seam pants, which is what you most often come across in like commercial patterns and stuff, that's where you have a front and a back with one side seam and one seam that goes on the inside of the leg, the inseam. And of course, the crotch seam. And the 4th category for Sewtinagivens, which is other. And that covers a few different things. However, within those categories, the largest group by far is the no side seam pant. Those are your pants, for example, and I'm going to list the ones here that I can remember. The Plinka, the Jacqueline, the Lainey, the Meg, Strappy Frills, Zelda, and Elope. There may be others. Those are the ones that I have made. And those are the ones that I'm sure have no side seam. The side panel pants are essentially the same construction as the no side seam pant, with the exception that they have a side panel that goes into the side. Those pants would include the Frankie, the Phoebe, and the Holly. And again, there may be others. Those are the ones that I've made, and I'm pretty sure those are it, but I could be wrong. The 3rd category is the side seam pants, which include the Oprah, the Archie, and the Norma jean. And I actually think that there's one that I'm missing, but I can't remember what it is. Other pants are, for example, the Candace, the Cara, the Daniela, the Greta, and the Tessa. Of those pants, I have only made the Daniela and the Greta. But they're slightly different construction than the other 3 types, and they would each of those pants would have to be dealt with individually. So today, we are going to focus on the no side seam pant and the side panel pant. It doesn't matter which of those pants that I've listed here in those 2 categories you're making. The construction is going to be the same. I have done a quick little tutorial here on how to construct the body of those pants. So the main difference in all of those pants is there may be some variations in the size and shape of the body and or the leg, but there isn't much difference in those. Your biggest differences are going to come in your hem or your cuff or various details in that area. For the most part, the rest of the pant is going to be the same. So in our tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to construct the body of those pants. This would apply to any of the no side seam pants and also any of the side panel pants. Next week, we will talk, or whenever we do our next video, but I think it probably will be next week, we will go over various different hem or cuff finishes for each of those pants. But this way you can at least get your pants started. If you're unsure how to go about that, you can get the body of the pants done, and then when we meet again, you'll be able to do just the cuff or the hem or whatever the detail finishes are, and you'll have a fully finished pair of pants. All right, so here is my quick little tutorial on how to make Sewtinagivens pants, the no side seam pants and the side panel pants. I hope that wasn't too redundant. So for any of these pants with no side seam, you just have one piece. This one I'm using the Meg, and it has a separate piece for the cuff. The Plinka pant has a separate piece for the ruffle and the binding, but for the main body, you have just the one piece. And all you're gonna do is place it on the fold of your fabric, just like this. And we're gonna cut all the way around this edge, and we're gonna do that twice. We need two of these. One for the right side and one for the left side. Okay, for your side panel pants, any of the side panel pants should have two main pattern pieces that look something like this. This one that has your crotch curve in it, and this one, which is your side panel piece. Now, this is the Frankie, and I think this is true on most of the other side panel pants. You will see that this piece right here that says side panel also says place along fold. So this edge here, you want to be on a fold. That means that's going to be, that panel is actually going to be twice this width when you're finished cutting it. Make sure you do that. If it says on the pants that you're making, if it says place along fold, just check for that, because the first time I made Frankie's, I didn't see that, and that was a problem. So now we need to cut two of these. So if your fabric is doubled, oh, nope, sorry. You're gonna cut two of these on the fold. So however you wanna do that, 1, 2, and then you're gonna need 4 of these, which means that if your fabric is doubled, you're gonna cut this once, and then you're gonna cut it again. So you have 4 of these all together and 2 of these all together. Okay, now we have our side panel pants cut out. We should have 4 pieces that look like this. These are our main body pieces. This is the right side of mine. This fabric you could use either side as the right side, so I'm going to use both sides, but in any case, this is the right side of my pant, and I have 2 for each leg, front and the back, and we have 2 side panels, 1 for each leg, that are going to get sewn right in here. So easy enough to do. We're going to put right side to right side with our panels. Then once that's done, we're going to open this out, and we're going to put this one right side to right side, and we're going to pin that as well. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew both of these. So we're going to sew from here to here, and then on this panel, we're going to sew from here to here. You're going to finish both of those seams any way that you like, and you're going to press them so that they're flat. Okay, so we have 2 different pairs of pants here. This is our no seam pant, in this case the Meg, and I have 2 pieces. They both look exactly like this. In the Meg, I went ahead and put my pocket on and my cuff on, but it doesn't matter. If you're doing one of the others, it will still look essentially like this. If you're doing one of the pants with the side panel, it should look like this. This one is the Frankie, but again, they'll all look more or less the same. Oh, right there. And you can see, here's my front or back, side panel, front or back. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one of these you're doing, either the one with the side panel or the one without the side panel. From this point on, you're going to construct them the same, for the body anyway. So this is obviously the right side of our pant. We're going to fold this right sides together, just like that. Get that out of the way. This is our crotch curve, our waistband, our leg, and our cuff. So all we're going to do is pin this together from here. Oops. from here all the way to here. We're going to sew that seam, and we're going to press it towards the back, whichever side you want to be your back, because they're exactly the same. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other leg. Right sides together, line up your seams, and just sew from here to here. On the, there we go, on the side panel pant, it's exactly the same. We're going to sew them, we're going to fold them right sides together, line up our leg seams from there to there, and we're going to sew straight down. We're going to do that on both of our leg pieces, regardless of whether or not you're doing the panel pant or the no side seam pant. Okay. Again, regardless of which pants you're working on, they should look something like this. This is one leg. This is the other leg. My camera's not going to be easy to get all of this in, so let's see if we can do this right. Okay, so this is the right side out. I'm going to leave this pant leg just like this. This one, I'm going to turn inside out. So that's the wrong side, that's the right side. I'm going to stick the right side inside of the wrong one. Like that. So that's the wrong side of one pant leg, that's the wrong side of the other pant leg. Ah. Oh my God. There we go. Our right sides are facing each other. Now we're just going to make sure that we want this front edge to be exactly even at the top. We want to make sure that both of our pant legs match. That's one seam, that's the other seam. You want to be sure those match. Then the top on the other side, you want to be sure that that matches. That's nice and even right here at the top. Now we're just going to pin this together like this. Now we're just going to go back to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew right along this edge that we've just pinned, all the way around this curve and straight up to the other side. Then we're going to finish that seam just like we did the inside of our pant leg. Okay, so again, regardless of which pair of pants you're making, you should have something that looks something like this. Right? Now, for our waistband, it says here on, I think on all of these patterns actually, you can see here, we have a little tiny line. I'm going to say it's about 1/4 of an inch in, and that's a fold line. That's to finish the raw edge of your elastic casing. I do not like to do that because I don't like to fold anything under 1/4 of an inch. It's a pain in the butt. And also it does add bulk, and nobody needs even a little bit of extra bulk around their waistband. So what I do is I serge my end off. You can still fold it under, especially if you have a thinner fabric. It's not really going to make that much difference. You could also just zigzag the edge, or you could use pinking shears over the edge if you want. Or you can go ahead and, like I said, fold it over. Any way you do it, this is what we're going to do next. We are going to lay our pants flat and even. You want this center front seam and center back seam to match up. And then you're going to just sort of hand press that flat until you get 2 sides. And I'm going to mark each of those sides with a pin. So now the waistband of my pants is marked off in 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to take a piece of elastic. I've already measured this. Remember, you want your elastic to be tight enough to stay up, but not so tight that you can't breathe. I have sewn mine together in the back, so I have a nice loop. I'm going to fold it together. I know that that's the center back where I have my stitching. I'm going to fold it and go straight across to the other side and put a pin. Now I have that divided into 2. Now I'm going to match up the center back with the center front, and that will give me 2 equidistant sides. Okay? Now, it does not matter how you finished your waistband. You're going to do this the same all the way, on all of them. This is going to go at the center back, and it doesn't matter if this is the front or this is the back, they're exactly the same, so just pick one. I am going to lay this right up against the edge. On mine, it's right up against the serged edge. If you've folded yours over, it'll be against that folded edge. And I'm going to pin it down right there. Then I'm going to move to the side seam of my pant, well, my not side seam actually, my side marker, and I'm going to match those 2 pins up. And I'm going to pin that together there. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the front. That is my center front seam. Oops. There's my next pin. I really want this elastic to be right on the edge there. And then one last time, 1 pin over here. Now, because I don't like making a casing, I like sewing this to the fabric and then folding it over. You really need to be sure that this is going to stay straight when you sew it. So what I generally do is I go in between each of these pins and I make 1 more mark. I just kind of see where it's half and half, halfway on the fabric, halfway on the elastic, and I'm not really completely crazy about it. It's just sort of a good enough thing. It really just has to be close. You've already got it sectioned off into 4, and just try to keep them even all the way around. So now I have 8 pins going all the way around my waistband, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this on to my pants with a zigzag stitch. And it's okay if it goes over the edge, it's okay if it doesn't go over the edge. You really just want it to be as close to this edge as you can get. Now you're going to see your pants are obviously bigger than your elastic, so as you go, put your presser foot in, take your pin out. You're going to need to stretch your elastic so that it meets the side of the pant, right? Just be sure when you're putting it through your machine that you're letting this machine feed it through, that you're not pulling it through the machine. You just want to pull the elastic taut, but you don't want to pull your fabric through the sewing machine because you're going to end up breaking your needle and doing all kinds of other stuff. So we're going to just do a zigzag all the way around the top edge. We're going to do this again in a second, so you don't need to do like a really tiny zigzag or anything. You've already got this edge finished off somehow. And the elastic doesn't need finishing. So I use a bigger zigzag, a wider, longer zigzag, and I go all the way around. Okay, so here we are. You can see my elastic is just zigzagged on there. Well, actually, I went over mine with the serger, but only because my fashion fabric was fraying again. I don't know what the problem is with that, but anyways, you can see I attached my elastic first just with a zigzag stitch, so that's fine. If you have a serger, you can serge it on too. In any case, this is what you want so far. Now, we're just going to fold this down to the inside. And you're just going to have to be careful to make sure that you're folding it even. It's going to be kind of easy to tell on mine because I have stripes, so they should line up. And just want to try to get this edge here to be nice and flush with your elastic. Now, the reason that I do my elastic this way instead of making a casing and drawing my elastic through is because if you do it this way, your elastic doesn't move around inside your waistband, and I prefer that. So I also think that this is a little less bulky. And again, I don't want any extra bulk around my stomach. I don't know who does. Pick a few points where it's on the pants that have a side panel. It's easy because you can line up the seam on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, but that's that line right there is the seam that should line up right there. So with the side panel pants, it's a little bit easier. With the no side seam pants, it's a little more difficult because you have just the front seam and the back seam to line up. But just use your fabric as a guide. It's gonna go in pretty easily. You're gonna know if you're really off, right? So if I pull that straight, you can see that that's gonna be pretty straight. Okay. We're just gonna continue pinning this around. I don't put as many pins in this section. The reason I put extra pins in the first go round is you can see where my elastic is peeking out of the edge there of the fabric. I feel like the more pins I have, the less that happens. So that's why I do that in that first round. But this round, we're not going to have a problem with that. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the sewing machine and we're going to do exactly the same thing we just did. We're going to use the zigzag stitch and go right along the zigzagging stitch that you did before. You want to go right along this edge of the fabric. So we'll be stitching this down along here. And technically you don't even need to use a zigzag stitch. You're stretching it out as far as it will go. So if you use a straight stitch, that's also fine. I just prefer the zigzag stitch. All right, guys, so that's what we have. And that is the entire body. All we have left to do now is our various hems and cuffs. However, I just want to show you guys really quickly. So a lot of times when you sew your elastic like this, instead of running it through a casing, it will get a little stretched out. So the way to deal with that is, let's see if I can move this. We are going to steam the heck out of this elastic waistband. So there we go. We're not going to press. We're just going to shoot it with a lot of steam. Hopefully you'll be able to see it actually shrink up. Water on there. But you can see how much more that's shrunk up, right? Okay, that's it for today. Okay, so there you go. That's how you make a pair of Sewtinagivens pants in a nutshell. If you have any questions about that, please leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. After this, like I said, these two categories are by far the largest number of pants in Sewtinagivens patterns are going to fall within those two categories. So next time we meet, I will be going over different hem and cuff finishes for those various pants. If you guys like that and are enjoying that, then I will go on and I'll do another couple of videos on the basics of sewing some of the tops and then dresses and slips and that kind of thing. But we'll do it this way. We'll do a couple sew throughs so you guys can get a better feel for how you actually do the construction. I know a lot of times I spend more time talking about how I alter the patterns and things like that, and I forgot that not everybody is as familiar with the Sewtinagivens patterns as I am. So hopefully this will be helpful. Let me know what you think. In other sewing news, I do have to say the other thing I did do over the holiday was I took another class from Alice and Company Patterns, and I'll leave a link to them again below. I think I did that the last time I took a class from them. This time I took the Salcombe Smock-along. I think that's what it's called. I'll list it below. It was a really cool class, and it was really fun, and I feel like this particular pattern is something you could change like 1,000 different ways. So I haven't had a chance to make mine up yet. I did make my pattern in the class, and I have a top cut out already. Hopefully I'll have that ready for you for the next time I do a video. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys all have a good week, and I will see you soon. Bye.